Hey, welcome to the Cinefiles. Yes, we have a bit of a change here. I am acting as host tonight because our vigilant producer Edwin is in the booth right now because our lovely director Gloria could not make it because she's in jail. She broke a bottle over someone's ear, and well, they made her mad. That's all I'm going to say. And Eric is not here tonight because he's actually trying to find the mystery of Coke right now. So there you go. Tonight is a very special episode of the Cinefiles. We have my comrade in arms here, Jeff Galashaw, and we have a special center square tonight.
On the side, though.
Yes.
It's cool.
It's basically point counterpoint plus one. And our special guest for the evening is the writer, director, and producer of the independent film ... Around.
We said it. Cool.
And that would be David Spaltro.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Tonight's Point Counterpoint Cinephiles edition, which this is the first time in over... next month will be our 4-year anniversary of being on the air.
Will.
And not making a goddamn cent from this little show. Awesome.
This is the first
You're
time you
not
guys
bitter.
have ever gone like
Yes,
head-to-head.
mano y mano.
Yes.
Tonight will be Kevin Smith, pro, con, and I will, of course, I will start it by saying that I will be against Kevin Smith. I've been a proud Kevin Smith hater ever since his career started. And Jeff?
I love Kevin Smith, not literally, but I have always been a fan, and I can see some of your criticisms, but I don't think he is an entirely bad filmmaker.
Are you supposed to say that at the end of the debate?
I should.
I can
but-
see all the points you haven't made yet, and I respect them.
But we have talked about this before, obviously.
Ad hominem.
Wow.
Okay, let's start out. Back in 1994, Kevin Smith came out with his first film, Clerks, which was made for, I believe, $25,000. Shot
Around there.
on 16 millimeter negative, black and white, which is probably at the time the lowest film stock, or the cheapest film stock you could buy other than 8 millimeter. He filmed it all in his hometown in New Jersey. And once it came out, he got Harvey Weinstein, I guess, actually it wasn't Harvey Weinstein, it was a representative from Miramax
Tusk, the guy Tusk.
that saw it on one of the screenings in the city. I think it was a part of like a new filmmaker series from Lincoln Center. And there was 2 people in the theater. I think one of them was a relative and the other one was this Miramax fella. Got in, saw this, brought the buzz back or the good news to Harvey Weinstein. Harvey liked it. And the next thing you know, he gets these great reviews. And I moved to New York, my first month here. I'm going to go see Pulp Fiction at the Angelica, which was such a big deal for me because I had just arrived from Omaha, Nebraska, of all places. And I thought, I'm going to go see the biggest independent movie going on right now at the Angelica, probably the most famous theater in New York. Go there with my friend. It's sold out. I see Clerks, not sold out. Hear good buzz. I'm stoned. Let's go see Clerks. My friend knew nothing about it. She said, okay. We went downstairs into the caverns of the Angelica. I laughed once. I don't even think it was a full laugh. It might have been a guffaw, might have been a polite smile. I don't know. But it was one of the worst fucking movie experiences of my life. Didn't fall asleep, though. That honor goes to The Last Boy Scout, the only film I've ever fallen asleep in.
Wow.
But yes, Clerks was so insulting that I couldn't believe it. Now, tell me about your Clerks experience.
Well, I don't have quite as long a story. I saw it on home video, but I had heard about it reading Entertainment Weekly, which is a reputable magazine. And I had seen the previews, and I thought, okay, this isn't usually my type of film, because at the time I was just getting into indie films, and I thought, looking at the previews, this looks very cheap, and I don't know any of these actors. But
Cheap's not necessarily a bad thing.
I know, but at the time I was used to multi-million blockbusters. So when I finally, when it came on at the time VHS, I finally got to sit around and watch it. And I had a quite different experience where I was laughing from beginning to end in the privacy of my own home. So it wasn't like I was laughing with the audience. I was laughing for myself because I thought, now I'll position myself like this. I had not seen a lot of talky, dialogue-driven films at the time. Again, I was used to the blockbuster films, so this was sort of a revelation for me. A movie where nothing is really happening, but it's pure dialogue and all comedic dialogue. And, you know, I can't say it was the age. I was younger than that.
Please put comedic in quotes.
Okay, first of all, it is a funny film. Just
No,
because
it's
you didn't
not.
find it.
Oh, God.
I would say, I mean, I think the thing about him is that it's an acquired taste. It's kind of like people really like
Dave,
the
when
Grateful.
you first saw the film,
Taste
how did you see the film?
See, I saw the film way after I'd seen some of his other films. I'd actually seen, I think.
So that wasn't your first
No,
intro.
I was really stoned, and somebody had shown me Mallrats, which I was like, oh, you know, haha, it's dopey, right? And then I had seen Chasing Amy, which I actually did enjoy at the multiplex. And then somebody was like, have you ever seen his first movie? And I'm like, there's a first movie? And then they had a videotape of Clerks, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think having seen the other ones and then seeing that, I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was the great. I think if I had seen it at the time that it came out and it was so overhyped, I don't know if then I would have enjoyed it. But because I had seen his other stuff and I sort of knew his style or lack of style, however you want to do it, you can see it in the conversational pattern. You can see it in his two-person setup and the talking and then the dirty jokes and the sex and the two guys. That it really, I didn't see it as it was bad or good. It was like, all right, I see where he came from then at least, you know.
Well, here's my problem with the film. One of my many problems. There's so many. It's so vivid for me. Even though I was stoned, it was so vivid for me. It was like somebody had branded my brain. It's somehow I'd gotten scarred from this experience. But there were so many times, there were so many openings where I expected to laugh, and I didn't. The one time I did laugh was Die Berserker or whatever. Die Berserker.
Of all the things in the movie, that's
of
what
all
you
things,
laughed.
I got kind of a chuckle out of that. But the
Must have
whole
been the
guy,
drugs.
don't suck dicks on your way out. That was, I guess that was supposed to be funny. The hoochie boochie, scoochie moochies, or whatever that is.
Snoochie boochies.
Snoochie boochies. I wanted to reach inside Jason Mewes' face and rip out his skeleton. That's how bad I hated that
dated because that
motherfucker.
was like the era of Mortal Kombat too. So you were just like all about it.
I hated his guts. I have never. This is on record, folks. I have never ever been so happy that somebody got almost fatally addicted to heroin. As Jason Mewes.
Oh, that's
because of his snoochie boochies.
Rebuttal, Jeff?
Okay, well, I can't say that.
Is snoochie boochies
Okay.
funny? Is snoochie
No,
boochie...
snoochie boochie
David, is snoochie boochie funny?
No, really.
Maybe not the way you're saying.
when
Out
you-
of context, no, not
And
at
when
all.
you add powerful marijuana to it, it's still not funny.
Maybe that's you.
Perhaps you did not have the best dealer at the time.
Exactly.
You were new
Wow,
to the
this
city.
was good stuff. It made everything kind of fuzzy and warm, you know?
I mean, you can't just boil down an argument to is Snoochie Boochie's funny. There's other stuff and other dialogue in the movie. That just happened to be his catchphrase. It's just like Jerry Maguire with...
awful.
We're not talking about the quality of
I'm
the
just
movie.
saying.
My question is your
No, awful catchphrase.
That was an
Show
awful
me the money.
catchphrase, but people still like the movie.
Is your reason for disliking him? Well, you haven't seen most of his films. We'll get to that. But that you dislike Clerks is you just didn't get it. It just didn't work for you.
No. Also, I don't find. I remember. I can't remember if it was Jay Hoberman of the Village Voice or David Anson of Newsweek that had a blurb on the poster or the ad in the paper, and the big thing was "Smart and Smarter." Because that was the time that Dumb and Dumber came out.
Oh.
So that was their big tagline, Smart and Smarter. And I kept waiting for the smart dialogue to happen. I was waiting for when it was getting smart. And it's not smart because dick jokes usually aren't smart. I can sit there and I can talk about how great the inside of my asshole is, or how much if I crap my pants it's gonna burn all day. Wow, I'm smart. I'm a fucking genius.
Well, okay, first of all, that was...
I hate when I masturbate and the underwear sticks
Well,
to me.
I think... Okay,
wow.
first of all, your problem might
Get
be...
me into Mensa.
Your problem might be more with what the critic said. Kevin Smith cannot help that the critic gave
Well,
him...
he said smart and smarter, and a lot of people, like you just said, dialogue-driven.
Yes, it
When
is.
you say dialogue-driven, that usually says that the dialogue is so smart that it drives the film.
Well, okay, I can see your point, but my whole thing, okay, maybe the way I meant dialogue-driven was that since the camera doesn't move that much, most of the action is through dialogue, them telling stories or insulting each other. And I enjoyed the film on that aspect. I didn't pay attention to the blurb that said smart and smart and waiting, when's the smart stuff coming? I mean, the only thing I would say that was smart about the film is that in, I guess, the one-liners, he happened to use bigger words than were at the time used in most jokes. Outside of a Woody Allen film. I don't remember the whole script. I can't sit there.
So much for a point counterpoint.
Yeah. Well, I am sorry. This show was just thrown on me.
Weren't you getting ready for this?
I was getting ready, but not for this week. But so I think we should move on to the next film because obviously.
But wait a second.
Okay, you have another argument.
Yeah, no, not another argument, but another reason that it really pissed me off. You have the character of Silent Bob. Okay, he's silent throughout. He's given Snoochie Boochie, heroin addict, advice mentally or something like that. So his two big moments in this film are him doing the silly little dance outside 7-Eleven, which got a smattering of laughs in the theater, and I was stone-faced because I thought, oh, Silent Bob, he's silent, but a great dancer. Very cheap. So then I was enraged at the end because Silent Bob, the only time he talks, he's supposed to loan out this tremendous sagely wisdom that just sounds like such pretentious bullshit that other people would go, oh, that seems like common sense. Yeah, appreciate the girl because she wouldn't do it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that you should appreciate what you got. She seems like a great girl and everything. And it's like, I wanted Silent Bob to just shut the fuck up because obviously if Dante was still mad about this girl and her random cocksucking before they started going out, whatever. All right. That's fine. Another thing, and you
I
guys,
thought it was only one.
No, one more thing. That acting, David, with somebody that's worked with actors.
No, I mean,
that acting was bloody fucking awful. Especially the guy that was trying to do his Bill Murray impression throughout. They kept talking like this throughout the film. Oh, I bet you that I could get in that video store faster than you can. Oh, look at me. I'm Bill Murray Jr.
It's so great because you both have these vivid memories, and yours is more like the
head
time
trauma.
that you were like molested by
exactly.
like a relative or something. It's like it just sounds horrible. Like
I
you make
see
it
it through rose-colored glasses, and you're
you
sitting
love
over
it.
here.
You love it. He's tortured by it, and I mean, like I feel like it's one of those things where if I had never seen it, my life would still be the same either way. I wouldn't feel either way about it.
The acting.
The acting, though.
Comment on the acting.
I mean, look, they were amateur actors, and even when he got better actors, not that Ben Affleck is the grandest actor, but like when he worked with Jason Lee or even in Dogma, because of the way he writes his stuff and his style, it's sort of like it's his mammoth. He has a very specific way he wanted to deliver it, and he would do line readings from what I've read about stuff. And like, if you watch the first couple of movies, they all talk like that in that same kind of pattern, set up the joke, blah, 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 pop culture, blah, 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 comedy, or not comedy, if some people. And so the acting, I don't know if he would have ever gotten great performance out of those guys. I think one guy was like a community actor, and one guy was not an actor at all.
The one you keep critiquing.
A lot of like friends and family people. So I think that first one, they weren't actors. And I also think he could probably
did the best with what he had at the time.
All right, I'll give him credit. Acting was still puke, but anyway. Okay, let's go on to the next one.
Okay, Mallrats, a movie you famously did not see, but tell us the story of how you almost saw it.
I wasn't really seriously considering seeing this film because Clerks was such a trauma.
A rape for you.
A friend of mine saw Mallrats, and his critique, I said, okay, tell me how it was, because Clerks was awful, but if this guy's made a good film, let me know. And he said, well, if I had taken a dump and I had watched the turd float around the water, that would have been more entertaining than Mallrats. Now, from what I've heard of Mallrats, besides that critique, it wasn't great. Jason Lee and his bizarre, like, little spazzy antics in that, I don't understand that, because I would see that from clips. Couldn't figure out if he was retarded or whatever. I think his name was Spanky in the film.
Banky.
Banky.
No, that was actually Chasing Amy. He
I'm
was Banky.
sorry. Yeah, it gets all washed into the
Combobulated.
same
One
dirty
and the
load.
same.
Then you had, I believe, was Jason Lee the one that was dating
Shannon Doherty?
Shannon Doherty.
Yes, his character was.
Now, granted, the plot sounds interesting. It's about a guy that really, correct me if I'm wrong, that he's inspired really to do nothing but play video games and collect comics, correct?
Yes.
And I was actually very interested to possibly see this at one time or another because Stan Lee made a feature film, and I'm a big comic book fan.
Best cameo he's ever had in a movie.
It's also
Even
Also,
better,
lines
even
he's
better
ever-
than just wandering into frame of all those superhero movies.
Although
Best.
I hear I hear, but Iron Man was pretty great, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, this time he has lines.
And, Shannon Doherty was not going to bring me into the film. Jason Lee was definitely not going to bring me into the film because before that, I think Jason Lee's claim to fame was being in 100% the Sonic Youth video.
He's a skateboarder.
He's a skateboarder.
Which was a dedication to Henry Rollins' friend who was killed. So I don't know how you get Jason Lee and skateboards to, anyway.
I was behind the scenes on that one.
No, so how did you feel Mallrats compared to Clerks? Since Clerks was such a wonderful experience, did you think it measured up? Do you think it was like the continuation?
Mallrats compared to Clerks was, I guess, a totally different type of film because he was working with a budget and he was working with more so-called professional actors, but he was also not working for Miramax for the first time, so there was nobody really coddling him. So this film, he had...
What studio was this?
This was Gramercy, which is now out of business. But it was Jim Jacks and I believe Sean Daniel were the executive producers who
Universal.
who had produced Dazed and Confused and movies like that. So, they just wanted him to write a youth comedy, any subject he wanted to.
I think wasn't the original intent for, I think the producers wanted him to do his Porky's, correct?
Yes, but what he later complained about was that he had written pretty much a high school movie for college students, and the high school students couldn't see because it was rated R. Because as you have verbally said earlier, most of his stuff is pretty much potty-mouthed humor. Now, how I felt about this film, I enjoyed it so much that I saw it twice in theaters. Once on my birthday and once on a Friday night. I just randomly went to go see it because I wanted to see it. Yeah. Now, okay, before you say anything, now it has been years, and over the years I've watched it and rewatched it, and this is interestingly the film that has brought him the most of his audience because since it was, again, most high schoolers discovered it on VHS. I will say, watching it now, it's not as magical as when I watched it then. And I will say,
well, you say magical. What clicked for you? What was like? Oh my God!
I really can't explain it. I guess maybe it was more the person that Kevin Smith is. As maybe a guy from humble beginnings who got to write what he thought was funny and actually got a film out there. So I saw a bit of myself maybe in that, and I liked the humor that it was more dirty than.
But dude, I know you. You're
Yes.
not a dick joke guy. You're the least dick joke guy I've ever met in my life.
Well, that's to you. You haven't seen my stand-up yet, but
Nobody's seen your stand-up yet.
exactly. And if they saw it, they'd
Well,
be
nobody's
shocked.
seen my opera.
Well, if they know you like a good dick joke.
So
No, I don't.
is your stand-up
Okay.
just dick jokes the entire?
No, it's not dick jokes, but it's
You
more
drug.
obscene.
Let me
I'm a
talk,
fan of obscene.
Let me talk about my mom's period.
Yeah, okay,
I'm a
fair.
genius. Smarter.
Look, all I am
This is the
saying.
voice of God, and I want you to know Kevin Smith is going to burn in hell for all of his crappy films. And by the way, you have 7 minutes left.
Says
You
the
know,
man
most-
who made
most-
Death Wish, who loved Death Wish 3.
Most,
This is God.
most shows don't actually have God call in. So I gotta say, I don't know what budget you guys
Never
are working
has
with.
this ever
but
been
it's-
more public access before than tonight.
Exactly. But my whole thing is that I enjoyed the film. I'm not going to say it was the greatest thing. And I think with this film, I also noticed one thing about Kevin Smith, which isn't necessarily a critique, but it is that no matter how much money you give him, he somehow makes everything look cheap. That is the only thing you will get me to say really badly against the man.
Okay. Chasing Amy.
Chasing Amy.
How did that compare with the first two?
I think this was more of a personal story. So, I mean, it still had dick jokes, but it had more of a personal and dramatic scenes instead of just the jokes. There was a point to everything. And I really enjoyed the film so much so that I was the unofficial publicity person for it because every time I saw it, which I saw 5 times in theaters, I went to
Jesus Christ!
Yes.
That's his Lord of
Are
the
you
Rings.
kidding me?
Yes, that was my Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
I told everybody
Fuck.
I knew they had to go see this movie. I loved it that much.
Films once cost like $5 though. So.
Wow.
This was during the 750 phase.
Oh.
Wow.
So, yes,
My
I saw-
God, I would have like stopped being your friend. I think if you would have convinced me to go see that.
But I will say at
It
this
has 2 of the worst leading actors possible.
I-
Ben Affleck and Jolie or
Joey
Joey
Lauren.
Anna.
With her
Joey
voice,
Laureano.
she screams a lot in that movie. And
Well,
that does
that's just-
almost
she
kill
has
it,
a
though,
high-pitched
because
voice.
I believe dogs were
But
just
I mean,
wandering
first
on
of all,
set.
don't you think it's a little? Somebody should have been, I think it was Martin Brush who should have learned this later. But of all men that are going to convert lesbians, Ben Affleck ain't converting no lesbians.
He did it
brother.
twice, man. He did it.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did it.
Martin Brush,
Dude,
like I
he's
said.
Just,
Well,
he's
the
just
whole
the guy.
But I think the whole reason at the time
And
Ben
I don't even
Affleck
mind
didn't.
Ben Affleck.
Ben
as a
Affleck
person.
didn't have the
Yeah.
reputation he once had at this time. This was really his first leading role, and the whole thing was that since Kevin Smith had gotten along with Ben Affleck filming Mallrats and felt that Ben Affleck most likely would never have a future as a leading actor, not because of his acting skills before he's saying
The cast actually could have been worse because I believe he did it independently for like $250. But
Yes,
yeah,
because originally
Mira-
they wanted Jon Stewart to play the
and
lead.
David Schwimmer, right?
Yeah,
Which
it was
would've
either
been
Jon
awesome.
Stewart and David Schwimmer and Drew Barrymore in the Joey Lauren Adams role, because
Cool.
those were the Miramax players at the time.
They all had-
Yeah, and then he started give Kevin Smith credit. He started dating his leading lady, Jory.
Well, he was dating her before the film.
Yeah,
though.
and I thought, wow, this fat piece of crap really lucked out, and he's got this like pseudo babe, and good for him. He's managed to luck out. His deal with Satan is almost complete. And then he said later on that he had to break up with her because every time Harvey Weinstein would send him a fax about projects or edits or anything like that, she would get the faxes and read them first. Before he got a chance to read these faxes. So I thought, wow, she's a deceiving little bitch. But anyway, hey, I'm sure
And she
that's
was
more of a
never
personal
seen
thing.
again.
I'm sure the sex was
True.
great. Yeah, she directed one movie with
Ashley Judd.
Yeah, good for her. Okay, so
Next is Dogma.
yeah. Now I had a friend once
No,
again.
another
I
friend.
asked
Stop
a
listening
friend.
to your friends and watch these films for yourself.
I asked
and
a
form your
friend,
own
I said,
opinion.
what did you think of Dogma? And he said, you watch this film and you just can't help but think Kevin Smith is sitting in the background going, wow, wasn't that a smart line of dialogue? Don't I sound so smart? And I thought, wow, if I see this, not only will I hate him, but I'll probably go out of my way to pull like a Hinckley or something and kill him. I always vowed that if Kevin Smith and I were ever in the same room, I would throw a garbage can at him. And that happened a couple years ago at the Chicago Comic-Con, but I did not throw
So
a
you were like
garbage
the guy
can.
in the dead zone where you're like, I know all that you're about to do. I've got to take you out now. That was your,
Kind of.
yeah.
So anyway, what'd you think of Dogma? I guess it's his big budget.
It was a bigger budget than he had at that point. And again, another studio film, even though it was for Miramax again. And I'm not going to say it was his best. He saw it as an epic proportion of film, but I think one of the main problems I had with the film was the critique I made earlier, is that everything looked cheap, and for an epic, that didn't work for me. I'm not saying the film is horrible or bad. I still enjoyed it for what it was, but I just didn't think it was his best. But it was one of the first times that he was actually directing a credible actor instead of a novice with Linda Fiorentino in the lead.
Matt Damon.
Well, Matt Damon, that was a friend of his who was a friend of Ben Affleck's. So he had kind of worked with him before, but this was the first time he was actually appearing in a Kevin Smith
The
film.
first time they gave Salma Hayek a lot of dialogue, and they never decided to do that ever again.
Exactly.
And I think Jason Lee also played Satan.
Yes, it was more of a supporting role, and Chris Rock plays a supporting role. And he also got Alan Rickman, one of my favorite actors, to be in the film.
I believe George Carlin was in it as well.
Yes, as Cardinal Glick.
Yeah. So, my impression of this was, yeah, he's trying to be like Mr. Smart Guy, let's put religion on its ear and everything. But you had said something very interesting off camera, that the main reason why Harvey Weinstein probably loved Kevin Smith so much is he established himself with an identity and a fan base early on with Clerks and Mallrats. Thus, he had a built-in audience. So you could take a film that maybe had a higher budget, make it look cheap, probably film it for cheap, and still cash in because he had his built-in audience that was coming in.
Wrap it up, gentlemen.
Oh, voice of God says to wrap it
exactly,
up.
just when it was getting
Okay.
Who wins the
Camera
argument?
screen.
Who wins the argument?
Can you at least have the courage and the
courage?
guts to say Jersey Girl was a piece of shit?
I have no problem admitting that that was pretty bad film. Even I was in awe of how bad it was. That was again another personal story for him. I can't really explain what happened with that film because it was like everything was thrown out the window.
David Spaltro, you're from New Jersey.
I am from
Tell
New
me what
Jersey.
you thought of Jersey Girl.
It made me sad. I think it's not an unwatchable, terrible film, but I think it's when somebody tried to do something they're not supposed to do, and had to learn the hard way.
He said it
you know?
perfectly for me.
I think he just tried to. It's when you see somebody try to do something and you're like, why? Just
When somebody makes a career out of bad dick jokes,
Yeah.
you don't
Oh,
make
well,
it
you don't make
it
emotional,
PG-13,
romantic
no.
film,
Well,
correct?
no.
I'm not going to agree with
George
you.
Carlin is actually. I will say one thing about that film. George Carlin. Is
Wrap it
actually
up. Kevin
great
Smith
in it.
sucks. Just say it.
I will
No,
say this.
at first-
for
we
as
can agree to disagree.
As shitty as his films are, the guy's rich and he's got the life that I dream of.
And I still am a fan. It
And I
doesn't
heard his
matter.
wife is really fucking annoying too.
Okay.
And he named his daughter Harley Quinn.
This
Does he
seems
get
more
brownie
like a
points for that,
personal
or-
attack than his
No,
films.
he's
Say
rich.
good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night, gentlemen.
Kevin Smith forever.
Yes, I'll.